As of April 12th of 2026, there are currently 44 volcanoes which are actively erupting around the planet, a total which is 4 more than were erupting last week. One of these erupting volcanoes is a highly symmetrical Mayon volcano in the Philippines, which historically speaking has been one of the nation's most active volcanoes. While its eruptions can range from effusive to highly explosive and destructive Plinian eruptions, its ongoing eruption thankfully only ranks in at the very low end of moderately explosive. Its current eruptive activity is dominated by intermittent strombolian explosions which eject bombs of lava in a modest radius around its summit. And now, here are this week's top volcano-related news stories. In Indonesia, the Dempo volcano produced its largest eruption in multiple decades, blasting a plume of ash 2,500 meters above its summit crater lake. Meanwhile, in Hawaii, the Kilauea volcano produced a strong lava fountaining episode after a month of no or lesser activity, causing Tephra to rain down on populated areas. And in the Philippines, the Taal volcano erupted for its first time in nearly 3 months, repeatedly producing phreatic or phreatomagmatic explosions from its summit crater lake. These eruptions each lasted only a few minutes or less, with one occurring on April 6th, one on April 9th, and one on April 10th. These eruptions were all small in size, but because they were small, thermal cameras were able to record everything in great detail and not get damaged. While it is difficult to speculate why these eruptions occurred, I suggest that a weak and incomplete plug had formed in the volcano's magma conduit which allowed some but not all gas that rose through it to escape, blocking some of it. This plug started around March 16th, causing pressurized gases and some magma to build underneath it. It just happened to take a little less than 3 weeks for this pressure to become sufficient enough to break through overlying rock, with the April 6th eruption being purely phreatic. The latter two events involved small amounts of magma, hence they were phreatomagmatic rather than just essentially being a volcanic steam explosion. It is uncertain if more small eruptions will follow over the next several days to weeks, as only time will tell. Meanwhile, in Hawaii, the Kilauea volcano produced another strong episode of lava fountaining, which specifically lasted for 8.5 hours on April 9th. Occurring after a record-setting series of tall lava fountains 30 days prior, this week's lava fountains were notably shorter, only reaching peak sustained heights of 240 meters or 800 feet. Despite this low height, the presence of a nearby storm system caused winds to unusually blow to the northeast instead of the usual southwest, meaning fragments of Tephra, some of which were larger than a basketball, soon rained down in that direction. As the associated eruption plume rose to a height of 15,000 feet, a 14.5-mile stretch of Highway 11 and the summit region of Hawaii Volcanoes National Park were temporarily closed for a time as the eruption continued. The episode started at 11:10 a.m., peaked in intensity between 12:30 p.m. and 1 p.m., and then ceased altogether at 7:41 p.m. In total, 5.8 million cubic meters of basalt lava erupted during this time span. And in Indonesia, this week saw the largest eruption of the Dempo volcano on Sumatra occur in a little more than 2 decades. This eruption was not large in the context of world volcanoes, just large in the context of Dempo's typical smaller eruptions that are rarely visible at nearby populated areas. And yet, an early warning sign was fresh uplift, suggesting the upward migration of some form of heated hydrothermal fluids beginning on April 2nd. Heat from this material then flashed water to steam, which built up beneath its acidic summit crater lake across the next 5 days, until at 1:39 a.m. local time on April 7th, it burst its way upwards in a large phreatic explosion. This seemingly ejected thousands of tons of rock and ash in mere moments, and caused a 2,500-meter-high eruption plume to rise above its summit crater. Since Dempo is already quite a tall volcano, that means the eruption plume reached an altitude of 5.3 kilometers or 17,400 feet. Pyroclastic flows and surges likely traveled a short distance beyond the lowest point of its crater wall to the west, but I was unable to confirm this. And now, here is a quick list of all the world's volcanoes which are currently erupting. Additionally, here are some volcanoes showing signs of unrest which are not erupting as of the recording of this video on April 11th of 2026. As a final note, I would like to thank this channel's patrons on Patreon and channel members on YouTube for supporting my work.